Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. Nice sunny day, a little chilly, but it's sunny, not much wind, can't do much better than that. Quick video, the Lakota is just coming around the corner, so to speak. I still have more to do on it, but I wanted to find out what kind of shape it was in. I did some research on the carburetor, and this is the one with the diaphragm problem. Turns out you can buy a diaphragm from Kevin. It's about $100. You can buy an entire carburetor off of eBay. It's about $100. The eBay carburetor you get, says stuff like ran beautifully when removed from the bike. It doesn't say when it was removed, whether it was removed yesterday or removed 100 years ago. But generally speaking, what you're buying is a 10-year-old carburetor, and you're paying $100 for it. So, Harvey's a little cheap. Some of you guys may or may not have noticed that. What I did is I took my favorite carburetor. This is a little bit bigger than your common 200S carburetors. Most 200S carburetors are somewhere around 28 millimeters. This is a 30, and what should be on it is a 32. But you can see I made my little adapter plate from this is a piece of brass soldered to this is a converter from, what is that, 3/4 inch to 1 inch, and then I just slid it in there and tightened the clamp on it. And to remind you guys, this thing jumped time, smashed a valve, got a new timing chain, got a new valve, put it all back together again, turn the switch on, click, note green light right there, push the button, and there she goes. Motor sounds pretty good. Remember, I do have the valves a little bit loose. I did loosen this and tighten it up again while it wasn't running, just to make sure the chain is tight enough. Doesn't seem to have, has a little bit of valve noise. Considering they're loose, that shouldn't be a surprise, but just, well, two problems with it. It is a smoker. Now I don't have an air filter on it, so there is a little bit more noise coming out of the carburetor. That's the exhaust side. So there is a little top end noise, no big surprise. Once again, I set the valves up to be loose, and I'm going to leave them that way until they break in. Yeah, it's already out of gas. Good way to set yourself ablaze, by the way, playing these games that I'm playing. Let me fill it back up with gas. The battery, yeah, the battery cable came loose. That's why it stalled. Yeah, I'm not sure why this thing seems to want electricity on it to run. I'm not sure. It's got a 12-volt CDI on it. It might, because whenever this battery cable comes loose, it shuts itself right on down. But you could see it runs. You could see it sounds pretty good. You guys could see it smokes like no tomorrow. What I did with the oil is I filled it up. I did not change the oil yet. which is really my bad, because there could be crap in there from the engine work that could be causing me trouble. But I did top it off. I'm not quite sure how great the oil is in it. I've been basically letting it idle. I really haven't been pushing it in any way. And what I'm going to do is probably the next thing is I'm going to dump the oil and change it, and and then you got to start putting the bike together, right? Whether I'm keeping this filter on there and just putting this type of thing on there with a stocking over it. My buddy dude pointed out to me with a flashlight that if you kind of shine the light around the base of those cheap Chinese filters where they hook onto here, you can see quite a bit of daylight. And wherever you can see daylight, you're not pulling air through a filter, you're pulling air through a hole in a filter. And the size particle that could go through the hole is more or less the same size as the hole, maybe slightly bigger or slightly smaller, depending on, maybe it on its way in through the hole, it breaks off a chunk and then it keeps coming. So that kind of makes me want to lean back toward getting the real filter fixed up and on there. After you go through all these trouble on these bikes, it's kind of painful to ruin the bike because you put a cheap air filter on it. And ruin things that way. About the carburetor, what am I going to do? I don't know yet. I'm kind of fussy about putting $100 into this carburetor with the melted diaphragm. So that's got me a little fussy. But if I buy an eBay carburetor and I get it and the diaphragm tears immediately or tears after a short period of time, after all, it's a 10-year-old or older diaphragm, right? They made these from 96 through 06, I believe. So at the minimum, it's 10. It might be 20 years old. So it'd be a big surprise when the diaphragm tears, right? So you got that in this hand. In this hand, do I just say screw it, do a better job at putting my little pipe works together here, instead of having a temporary type fixture like I got there, go for something that's prettier and better put together and stays on there better, seals better. I might have a little bit of a vacuum leak right there. So that's the other temptation, to kind of do that right and get that carburetor on there right and get the air cleaner, get a proper air cleaner on there and go forward with it that way. That's another way around it. I don't know, I really don't want to put another $100 into this thing. Let's see, what do I have into it so far? I probably, between the timing chain, the valve, and some gaskets, and the front tire tube, I probably have $100 into it, and I think my son paid somewhere around $200 for it. If anybody's all that concerned, they could go in the past videos. So that's about $3 if I got another $50 into the battery. So for $400, if it smokes a little bit, I'm not in bad shape, right? Even as a smoker, I can probably, get my money out of it. If I'm into $500, because then I pop a carburetor on there, right, and whatever other surprises I find once I get it moving. I still have to fix the shifter. I don't know how well this thing drives yet, so you know, I'm not in bad shape at 400, right? I could still get my money out, right? Pull the starter off, sell it for $100, pull the recoil off for another 100, pull the tires off for another 100. There's 3. The plastic and seat is 4. The rest of the engine and the rest of it. So I mean, I could get out of it by parting it out, but homeboy ain't getting rich here for sure. I mean, I don't know. What's a carburetor worth that has a torn diaphragm? I mean, if you don't tell him the diaphragm is torn, when the guy gets it and it doesn't work, he's going to want to put it in your ear. I mean, if he needs the little plastic clip that goes in there or the little needle or whatever, carburetor's probably worth, I don't know, $50. Try to sell it for that if, I don't know. The real carburetor that goes on here, the China clone, which is a little taller. This piece here is a little taller. There appears to be enough room for it. That's about $89 with shipping, and I'll call it a $100 bill. The real one that goes on here to buy it new is somewhere around $300, high 2s anyway. There we are. So, it runs. I'm happy. Anyway, folks, I need you all to keep your feet down, to keep your heads up. I want you all to go out and enjoy all your days. Make sure you have fun. You don't know how much time you're going to get, so don't waste any time there. Okay, take care, folks. Bye.